the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy, see something. This is Souk business landscape.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy, see something. This is Souk business landscape.
Broad Street. Broad Street, situated in Lagos Island, is steeped in Nigerian history. Once the biggest financial hub of the country, it housed the headquarters of major banks, linked the CBN, the stock exchange, and the loads of lender companies. Broad Street is a historically significant street. It has played a central role in the development of Lagos and history, an important commercial and administrative center for the British colonial authorities. It was also a home to some of the city's earliest modern buildings. Broad Street was a residential area in the pre-colonial era. With the British came the Methodist Boys High School in 1878 and the Broad Street Prison in 1882, renamed Freedom Park. The General Hospital, which was a British military hospital, was built in 1893, being the first general hospital in Nigeria. The old British Secretariat building, which is now the Federal Ministry of Justice, was built in 1906. Broad Street has seen a full turn into modern commercial office blocks, complexes, skyscrapers, and markets from the outer marina through Akpombo early into the Adeniji Adele Road. Broad Street is one of the busiest streets in Nigeria on weekdays, where commercial activities take place day and night. From modern buildings to ancient structures, this street gives one a raw dose of life in Lagos. Broad Street is often referred to as Lagos Financial District. It boasts a mix of architectural styles, reflecting its long history, colonial-era buildings, Victorian and Edwardian architectural features, alongside more modern skyscrapers and structures. Broad Street remains a vital, vibrant part of the Nigerian economy. Broad Street. Souk Enlightenment.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy, see something. This is Souk business landscape.
A very good morning to you and welcome to Souk Business Landscape, your window into the forces shaping Nigeria, Africa, and the global economy. Today, we explore the paradoxes, breakthroughs, and strategic shifts redefining industries and nations, from Nigeria's manufacturing sector paying record taxes in the middle of historic decline to the promise of Lekki Deep Sea Port $200 billion game changer for logistics and Seplat's landmark step in reducing Nigeria's dependence on imported cooking gas. We also track the movement of foreign exchange inflows, the tightening of digital safety regulations, Kenya's bid to restructure its Chinese railway loan, and New Zealand's pivot to strengthen its defense capabilities Each story revealed the complex interplay between policy, market, economy, development, and how they impact the people's life and businesses. Today is Thursday, and I'm glad to have Olumide and Swift on the table. Yes, ladies first.
Good morning, Priye. How are you? How's your night?
I'm okay.
All right. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Africa. And good morning, world. It's going to be another beautiful show, and we're going to do what we do best.
Great. And
good morning, Priye. How
the
you
night.
doing?
Yes. Hello.
Good morning. Welcome to Souk Business Landscape, where we discuss business, economy, and development. Let's dive in.
Great. So there are a lot of happenings around, and definitely those are the things we'll be looking at. But first of all, let's intimate our viewers what we will be delving at. First, we'll start with Nigeria's manufacturing sector, and where manufacturers are paying more in taxes despite producing less. What a paradox, they said. You know, it reflects inflationary pressures, exchange rate collapse, and stricter tax enforcement rather than actual growth. And then we'll move to the Lekki Deep Sea Port, which is not just an infrastructural project, but a potential $200 billion revenue source over its 45 years concession, repositioning Nigeria as West Africa's logistics hub. Thirdly, Seplat and NNPC's first domestic LPG supply signals Nigeria's shift from LPG exporter to meeting local demands, cutting import reliance. And then Nigeria's foreign inflows improved in July 2025, but sustainability remains uncertain as portfolio investors still dominate. We will also look at tech giants, where the big names have deactivated 13.5 million accounts in Nigeria in 2024, showing stricter enforcement of Nigeria's code of practice for online safety. We will take a visit to Kenya. They are negotiating a shift, a swift one, and a switch rather, of $5 billion railway loan from dollars currency denomination to Chinese yuan, and they are seeking relief from debt distress. And finally, New Zealand is investing $1.6 billion to modernize its defense fleet, reflecting its response to a deteriorating security environment. But let me ask a rhetorical question. How many African countries are responding to that by way of tooling, reviewing, or restructuring their defense expenditure, and to, you know, give themselves some form of defense capacity in case of, like they say in the local parlance, in case it? Well, we're going to break, and when we come back from this break, we'll jump into the meat of the conversation. It's Souk Business Landscape. We're reaching you live from our studios. Good morning.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If we say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market, or buying to keep it for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk Business Landscape.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us. Now we'll move straight to our first story. Nigeria's manufacturers paid a record 803.5 billion naira in value-added tax in 2024, up 50% from the previous year, even as the sector output collapsed to $25.4 billion, its lowest, in 15 years, according to the National Bureau of Statistics and the World Bank data. Analysts said the surge reflects higher input costs in inflation, forex depreciation, and stricter tax enforcement rather than stronger performance. The paradox highlights a struggling industry burdened by rising taxes while facing dwindling competitiveness, factory closures, and job losses. Experts have equally warned that without urgent policy action, the imbalance will undermine Nigeria's industrial base and economic diversification. They recommend stabilizing the naira, expanding affordable electricity, cutting energy costs and easing forex access for critical imports. Industry players also call for targeted tax relief, improved infrastructure and incentives for local sourcing to boost capacity. And that say that such measures are vital if Nigeria hopes to restore manufacturing growth and achieve its $1 trillion economy targeted by 2030. And that goal was put in place by the current administration. Olumide.
Yes.
Were you taken aback or taken aware, or are you surprised by this development?
No, I'm not. I'm really basically not. What it's just saying is that revenue is going up regardless of what these manufacturers are facing. There's devaluation of Naira, stability, I mean, the FX scarcity is there. And in the midst of all this chaos, tax is coming in, VAT is coming in. So that's basically what...
When you say revenue is going up, you mean in the side of the government?
The government, yes. Yeah. I'm talking about the government. Revenue generation is booming. That's what it's saying here. It's booming. So I think the federal government, the government need to look at what is really happening, because if, yes, it's smiling to the bank as revenue generation, what about the manufacturer? Because whether I like it or not, factories are closing down, which means job losses, which means reduction in purchasing power of an ordinary Nigerian, which means a lot of companies might not be able, and also high cost of import materials because they can't really get them looked at. So I think that's why the federal government needs to come together with these manufacturers. It's not just saying, oh, produce all your stuff 30%. It's making it available, because we have logistic problems, we have insecurity, we have a whole lot of things that is going on. And whichever way, in order to meet government's demand, in order to be able to pay your VAT and tax, the consumer, the end consumer, will bear the brunt of every other thing. They will transfer it to them.
Great. So, Chuk, I said Chuks.
Yes, Chuks. We miss Chuks. I know. It's
Great.
fine.
But
Yes.
there are some of the reasons that was stated as the reason why the value-added tax, or the manufacturer seems to be, getting more, paying more value-added tax, or seem to be in a strangulated position. And one critical aspect that was mentioned is not only the volatility in forex or the instability of the naira, but also the availability of power, which is very, very critical to manufacturing.
Yes.
So, Madam Swift, what were you thinking when you saw this story?
So when I saw the story, I actually smiled, because the only challenge we have is the African paradox. The African paradox is basically we have everything here. We have the resource, but we always seem to want to export what we have and import already manufactured goods. Most of the factories are not up to date. Some are, a lot are, but most are not up to date, or most of our people just believe for economic benefits, it's always better to take out. Now, the truth is, if you look at what they are paying, it means that the stories we have been hearing is not 100% true. We are hearing, oh, manufacturing is closing down. That's not true. For now, Nigeria has the best, or one of the best wire exports. Our fiber wires are the best in the world because of what we have here. And so countries all over the world are coming to Nigeria to ensure that they get our wires. So our wiring are the best. Now, if you look at the revenue, during Goodluck's time to this time, it just shows that manufacturing has moved top-notch. That means more things are being manufactured. We are exporting more, because look at what they are paying. It is also critical on this table to mention that under the President Bola Tinubu's new tax reform, manufacturing is not supposed to pay 30% anymore. They are now going to be paying 25% VAT. So they have been paying 30%. So if you are looking at it, it means that, but this is going to take effect from next year, January 1st. So it means from next year, January 1st, manufacturers are actually going to breed. Also, we know that the House of rep had passed a law that you cannot export raw materials. It must be 30%. So it means our plastic, rubber, those things that usually go out and we are not making money from, manufacturers will now have to sit in the comfort of their home or in their factories, brainstorm and figure out how they need to make sure these resources now hit a 30% almost ready form before it's exported. 90% of the plastics we use in Nigeria, they are from here. If you look at the Crocs we are wearing,
90% of the plastics?
Yes, they are from Nigeria.
Manufactured
locally in Nigeria. If you look at the new set of Crocs, they are no more imported. They are made in Nigeria. We have companies that make shoes, rubber shoes, raincoats, all these things. Our manufacturing is doing very well. Do the manufacturing industry still need some handouts? Yes, they need government handouts. Like we talked about, irregularities in power. That's something that we need to focus. So back in the day, we had like the Ilupeju industrial layout. That area was majorly for manufacturers. So the electricity company knew that when you are facing that area, there's a timing you give them light. Maybe you have a conversation with the stakeholders and throughout the night, these people can run their factories. But nowadays, because of space, everybody wants to live in Ilupeju, everybody wants to live in the Highbrow area. It's one of the Highbrow area. You find out it has now turned from pure manufacturing to part residence, which is happening a lot. So compared to when you could just, stakeholders could say, look, this is the manufacturing hub, give us electricity from this time to this time. It's no more that easy. You are now looking at sharing light with residents and it's not convenient anymore. Transformers blowing, all those. Let's put that at the side. The high cost they are paying, at least I know as of 2018, I used to be at Ilupeju. I know when they bring their bills. I'm afraid for the manufacturing. We are looking at 6 million in a month for a very small company. Bigger companies are paying 20-something million. And I'm wondering if you are paying 20-something million naira for just electricity, what's your turnover? How are you making it? How are you going to pay your staff? How are you going to, push it to the next level? But there's a lot of money in manufacturing. It's just the challenges people are facing. But I like the tax reform that has been reduced from 30% to 25%. It's a good one. It's here to encourage the stakeholders. Yes, there are trials, but let's be honest, we are actually advancing a lot in Nigeria. And for now, I was listening to the head of the Manufacturing Association who was like, they are seeing a lot of foreign partnerships coming in. They want to come in and they want to invest. Dangote is a manufacturer. Davido's father, Adeleke, is one of our biggest manufacturers too in Nigeria. So we are seeing a lot of the big men, the big guns, they are going into manufacturing because they are looking at the fact that the table is changing. In the next 5 to 7 years, if you are not a manufacturer, if you are not making part of what you need for your company, you are going to go down. These people, they are into tech, fiber. Our wires are now coming from here, most of them. You are into chairs. Once we can start to do almost everything we do in Nigeria, we'll be fine.
Okay, but I think
yes,
yes. One of the problems is most of these manufacturing companies still source their materials outside Nigeria. So that's one of the factors that is making it seem like it's hard. Because if they are able to source most of their stuffs locally, I think it will reduce the cost of production, thereby reducing the price in the market. Because if I still have to import sugar, if I still have to import some certain things to make beverages, I would include it in the end product.
Basically.
But if I am sourcing it in Nigeria from local farmers, I get a farmer who has a major farm, we have a contract. He supplies me X amount in large quantities every month. Let's say, for instance, these food eateries, they patronize, I don't want to mention the Obasanjo farm and all that, but they patronize things like that on a large scale. It reduces it for them than them going to source for frozen chicken and frozen foods outside the country.
Okay, so I think one other thing that we must pay quite good attention to is the fact that when we look at Nigeria's manufacturing capacity, in responding to, in actually making your first comment, you were talking about how Nigerian manufacturing is trying and why we shouldn't be paying more attention to the voices that are trying to, they're not just putting us down, I think they're trying to put Nigeria on their toes. The most industrialized African nation as we speak now is South Africa. And one of the reasons why they have that edge is because of their capacity to have more than 40,000 megawatts of electricity that is serving a population that is less than 100 million people.
Yes.
Nigeria is more than 100 million people. It's 200 million people plus. And we cannot boast of 50,000 megawatts.
They're still doing 5,000.
We're doing far below. Sometimes people are so ashamed they can't even mention them. So let's start. When we talk about that and you put that side by side and to try to calculate the level of the Nigerian manufacturing industry or sector, the manufacturing sector, you see that we fall drastically below, because what you need for manufacturing is power. And if you are to allow the manufacturers to source power for themselves, then the bill is outrageous. When the bill goes AWOL, then we know that we're talking about how expensive it becomes to procure or to purchase. We're going to break. We'll be back in a moment.
Take Nigeria, because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market, or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Suk business landscape.
Anthony Onyemaechi Elumelu was born on the 22nd of March 1963 in Jos, North Central Nigeria, to Susanna Dominic Elumelu, originally from Delta State. Tony earned a degree in economics from Ambrosely University, where he laid the foundation for his future career, and then furthered his education at the University of Lagos, where he obtained a master's degree in economics. His academic journey also includes attending the Harvard Business School, where he completed the Owner of President Management program, equipping him with advanced business management skills. Tony currently serves as the chairman of Heirs Holdings, Transcorp, and United Bank for Africa, UBA, demonstrating his significant influence in the banking and investment sector. He founded the Tony Elumelu Foundation, which aims to empower African entrepreneurs through comprehensive training, mentorships, and funding opportunities. In addition to his professional achievements, he's also a family man, married to Dr. Adele Vivian Elumelu, and together they have 7 children. In 2020, his efforts were acknowledged when he was named one of Time's 100 most influential people in the world. Anthony Elumelu's net worth is estimated to be around $700 million, a testament to his successful ventures and strategic investments. Elumelu continues to be a driving force in the business world, advocating for sustainable economic growth and empowering the next generation of African entrepreneurs.
Dr. Zak A. Adedeji, whose leadership has significantly transformed Nigeria's tax administration, is a distinguished first-class graduate in accounting from the prestigious Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and he currently serves as the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS.
I firmly believe in the wisdom encapsulated in his statements. Revenue growth is the lifeblood of the nation's economy, providing means to fulfill essential duties to its citizens. These words capture the core principle that will guide us as we navigate the challenging terrain ahead, ensuring that our nation thrives and fulfills its obligation to its citizens. In our pursuit of greater fiscal future, we are determined to align ourselves with President Bola Tinubu Extreme Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee. This collaboration will enable us to shape the prosperous fiscal landscape that will empower our nation's growth and development.
Born on January 8, 1978 in Ogbomoso, Oyo State, Nigeria, Dr. Adedeji is an accomplished accountant and public officer with extensive expertise in corporate taxation and public finance. His journey in public service began in 2011 when he was appointed as Commissioner for Finance in Oyo State. In that capacity, Adedeji introduced transformative financial reforms, most notably the establishment of the Treasury Single Account (TSA) to streamline government revenues and expenditures. In March 2021, President Muhammadu Buhari appointed Adedeji as Executive Secretary of the National Sugar Development Council (NSCDC).
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program. It's still the Souk business landscape. We are reaching you live from our studios. We do apologize for that break in transmission. And now we continue our conversation talking about manufacturing and manufacturing sector in Nigeria. Before we went on that short break, we were making comparisons between the South African manufacturing sector and that of Nigeria. Yes. And why we think, even though currently South African manufacturing sector is undergoing some form of challenges, but however, for a country with 64 million people and over 30,000 megawatts of electricity running, you expect normally that the manufacturing is going to be on the high side. Now, I don't think they extract raw gold in South Africa and just sell it raw. Because there is a manufacturing base, it goes through some form of transformation, value addition in the country. So if we are going to be addressing this, I know currently now we're just talking about how manufacturing, what's actually heavy on the shoulders of the manufacturers in Nigeria is because of the value-added tax that they are paying. But we still have to consider other aspects of the economy or other aspects of the manufacturing, the costs that is strangulating them. So if we look at power, if the government is saying we are going to do X, Y, Z for us to take care of manufacturing or to make productivity something to be quite visible in the manufacturing sector, if power is not given due attention, everything will go to waste. Yes. Because I don't think renewable energy, or do you expect manufacturing hubs to produce their own electricity, just the way we have some private institution or private organization in Lagos, Nigeria, or outside Lagos that you have their own separate power?
Yes.
I know the Redeemed Christian Church, they have their own, they generate their own power. How they do it, well, kudos to them. But I also remember where I was working before, I think about 5 years ago, it cost 3 million naira for power. That's both National Grid and alternative power.
My God.
Monthly?
Yes.
3 million naira.
That's for diesel and National Grid.
That was diesel and national.
That's just running costs.
For a month.
For a month.
Okay.
So we had to devise.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
And that's just for power alone, because we have not started looking at other overhead
remunerations
costs,
and all that.
and other maintenance activities.
Yes.
And for a year, we're looking at just power alone should be gulping about 36 million naira.
Exactly.
That's power alone.
And we had 2 power plants. We had 2 big generators, one on standby. One was never used, one was always used. Now, the one that was never used was in case the one that is always or frequently used backs up or packs up, we would resort to the other one. So we had to now devise, the head of operations had to devise another way. So he sought for green energy. He got a solar company to install panels. And I think the thing came to around roughly 2 million. So what we now do is from 6 a.m. to about 9 a.m., we're on national grid. So from 9 a.m. to about 5 p.m., solar. So that we cut diesel. So from 5 p.m. till about 12, if there's no power, then we can go on diesel. So instead of running on diesel, probably from the morning till night, we have saved almost 8 to 10 hours of diesel cost. So you can imagine, that's for one company that has decided that, okay, let me look for alternative source of power. Some might not have that luxury. I remember another place where I was working, the running cost of the national local power we were getting was 1 million naira every month. So they had to send a memo through all the departments that please have only one AC. And if there's nobody in that office, switch off the AC. So in an office as big as this studio, where we have like 4 ACs, we have to only put on 1 AC at a time. That was how we were trying to. So we reduced it to about, when the bill came in, it was about 600.
Okay, $500,000.
Yes.
A little bit above $500,000.
So you can, these are the running costs. By the time they did the whole estimate, every month, my chairman then was saying he was running into about 9 million.
For overhead cost in a month. And so now we can start talking about the profit.
So how much is it? Yes, he had to have a meeting. He had to have a meeting with us that, look, I can't hide this from you anymore. My running cost, overhead cost is 9 million naira, and the profit is not coming in. And I do not want to owe salaries. I do not want to shut down. What do we do? That's why we have to go back to the drawing board and see how we can, because, I mean, you can't be working for someone, you're not generating anything. And you know this person is paying 9 million every month. There's some sort of I call empathy, sympathy you will have for that kind of person. So this is just the few people that I have personal encounter with.
Okay, so
at this point, there's something I wanted to say when you were talking before. I think government needs to go back to the drawing board. That's the first thing, and we need to tax our universities. What are our universities doing? As of, I think in 2009, in one university, I don't want to mention, from the South, a professor in electrical engineer had sat with the VC and gave him a structure. There's a river not far from the university that, look, let us generate our own electricity. He said, when we generate our own electricity, we will run the campus, so there will be electricity. We don't really need workers per se. We will train our IT, our interns, we have engineering students, we have this, and he put the whole structure in place, how he was going to build. Very brilliant man. After having that discussion, he got to Senate, had the discussion, what it was going to cost, how even some other companies, or he was even ready to get banks, to fund it, because he wanted a percentage in it at that point. And the VC and all, the professor says, oh, what a brilliant idea. And the next week, they go and meet with somebody who was going to import one of the biggest generators that was going to service the whole campus. And they had 3 phases of generator, set 1, set 2, set 3. What are we saying? Our universities like UNN, University of Nsukka, has been able to have a power generating classified plant that raises over 100 kVA. Now, if that had worked, if the professors had listened at that point, now that university is generating power. They will not just keep generating. They will be outsourcing to people around.
Yes.
Imagine if 6 manufacturing companies move around the vicinity of where that university is. Some of the issues we are crying about, power generation, because part of the major problem in Nigeria when it comes to manufacturing entrepreneurs is power. So I think government needs to go back to the drawing board. We need to tax our universities. What are the young, brilliant minds doing? Every year, I see engineering students come up with renewable energy plants, how they turn wastes to this. They are receiving Nobel Prizes. We just clap and we're excited. How is government taking it to the next level? I know somebody, I don't know which village, I think Abia or something. He got a plant from waste and from water sources, and he has been empowering his village with electricity. What is the state government doing about these things? Because if electricity is a major challenge, these are the things we need to do. If it was a country like China right now, that a professor came up with this idea, automatically, they would, in fact, if you have 30 students writing WAEC, they will intentionally push 25 into the engineering sector, that whether you know, whether you don't know, if you don't know, you can be a technician. If you don't know, you can be the one turning the knob. Just go there, let us generate money. At this point, Nigeria is growing. I think we need to tax ourselves. The government needs to tax ourselves, especially for the younger generation coming up. Because if we continue like this, we have been fighting power for a long time. We need to start to locally generate power. Universities, all universities should be able to generate power, which will also be a source of income to them. It comes to the fact that I think Nigeria is maybe feeding too many people. Why are we having budgets for the university when universities can generate power?
Okay,
and
so
actually fund themselves.
Okay. So one thing we have to put into consideration is this: you are a university, a tertiary institution,
yes,
and what is required of you as one of your primary responsibilities to ameliorating some of the economic challenges that the environment is going through is for you to find solutions to that through the instrument of research and development.
Yes.
Now, the universities themselves are going to put it across the government that, look, we have so many research and development, we have papers, we have departments of research and development in almost all tertiary institutions, both at the federal level and at state level. There are projects on ground for which we can develop and increase our electric capacity from the nation's grid. We have done X, Y, Z. Or even if there are other aspects, there's going to be need for money to run this. Is the government going to put that money down?
The challenge is we are always looking at government.
Wait, just a moment, wait.
Okay.
It's not about the challenges of always looking at the government. We have a university system where students, where even to an extent, the school fee was subsidized, not recently though, where almost all universities have increased their school fees, and the government is now making money available through loans to students.
Yes.
Now, you don't expect that the university is generating a few amount of money. The university needs attention for maintenance. The buildings are there for maintenance. Staff salaries are also there for maintenance. They will need to build a few structures, because it's not all structures that the government will come and build for the university as they continue to expand in the number of students. Research and development is capital intensive. It's
That's
not the
where
kind
I was going.
It's not the kind of capital that a university would just stand and generate the money. I know of University of Ibadan and where the vice chancellor actually reached out to some of the alumni in the United States, abroad, in diaspora, for them to actually make some form of contribution to the development of their alma mater. And they were able to send in something, but that in itself is not enough. So, and we cannot undermine the involvement of the government in doing this, because if we do, we'll leave the universities to themselves, and the students who are scratching here and there and trying to make money for school fee, or their parents will be subjected to a whole lot of hardship, and we don't need to go through that.
Can I jump on this table very quickly? A wise man once said, excuses are a tool in the hands of the incompetent. What part of the problems we have in Nigeria is there are always excuses. I have sat in a university, and a lecturer, a professor was being, I've forgotten when you decide to do your final papers or whatever. And then and there, alumni, students he has taught. For example, from University of Benin, has raised almost 3 former governors. Even a governor from Lagos State, Fashola, went to the University of Benin. I'm just trying to give you instances. All governors in Nigeria, if any federal university, I'm talking of Ife, Ibadan, Benin, ABU, call them that want to give you an honorary PhD, they go there physically because of how big these universities are. I have seen a lecturer or a professor during his inaugural lecture raise more than 200 million. And I'm not talking of story million. And this is more than 6 years ago. It is just...
What was he launching? The book?
He was launching his book, and he called his students. He was from petroleum engineering. He called, in fact, one of his students, I think, was the acting general manager of one of the biggest oil and gas companies. And he called them, and they were giving out money. Now, imagine if we put these efforts. That's what happens in universities abroad. When you live as an alumni, there's a certain amount you pay to your university yearly. What the big boys. You have, why do you think you see
It's
people?
not an obligation.
It's not an obligation, but there's a way you put yourself there. So if you, the university you went to, you are a local government chairman, and the university reaches out to you that, look, you know how you suffered without electricity. We need 300 million to start phase 1. We want to start to do internally generated power. And you know this is going to benefit your students. Students come to you. And you
Where
see,
will the local government chairman get the
I'm just
money?
saying, you see this, wait, hold on now. You see these structures. You would give something. If 50 people give something, instead the universities are looking for this money to buy buses. Students are coming to your office to collect monies. It's just a mindset change.
Okay, just a moment. So I don't want us to completely deviate from the manufacturing, and we're going to be moving to our next story almost immediately. So your final take on this.
All right, and just to add on what Swift said, that particular table you are talking about, you can't shake it. Let's just leave it there, because the secondary school I attended, I still passed there a few weeks ago, and it's the same secondary school our president attended, and I know what state it is. So let's leave that alma mater thing, for another topic. But I think the major thing now is for the government, in as much as you are increasing tax, you are increasing VAT, you are saying they must do this, you must do that. Apart from giving them tax holidays and incentivizing some certain VAT breaks or thereabout, there has to be infrastructure. There has to be something laid down for these manufacturers to be able to get some kind of respite, succor, so that it will also go down in end consumers' buying or purchasing power. Because in as much as you have to source for alternative energy or renewable energy, and I'm still paying the national grid, I'm still paying for local power, it would always reflect on the price. It would always reflect on the price. So I feel that, and yes, if you look at it also, the Gencos and the distribution discos and the rest of them, they are still crying. They are not. They've been stricken, or how will I put it? They've been choked with debt, a whole lot of debt. And there's a particular state that is saying they want to reduce tariffs and they want to reduce the price of electricity. Enugu State. So it's a whole lot. This is where. But then again, you mentioned something about, or she mentioned something about why can't universities start generating powers and all that. I would say, first of all, the federal government, in a working society, should have no business funding universities. It should be left to the hands of the private sector. I feel if the private sector take control, partner with these universities, they will do more. But if the state or federal universities under the federal government approaches the federal government, okay, we can generate our own power to power this particular economy, and the federal government says we can't do anything.
Suka is doing it.
Okay, so
they can't. They really can't go
far.
Suka
is doing it already.
They can only
if
now
this
try
can be replicated in other universities. What I'm saying is we need to look, because we are fighting power, we are fighting manufacturing. Government has already done a lot for manufacturing. There's a 100 billion customer credit fund for manufacturers. This is SOCO, and most of those monies are struck out as bad debt as time goes on.
Okay.
So if you know, you know. But more is needed. So what I'm saying
is not SOCO.
I'm just saying. The more I'm saying, a lot of them are struck off as bad debts. That's if you cannot pay back, and you're seeing that, your manufacturing didn't move forward, you didn't make credit, there's a percentage that is struck off as bad debt. So what we are still trying to say is, what's the next level for this? Because we will always need power. I think government needs to start to push the narrative to private universities. Let us start to encourage inventors. Let us start to generate powers in certain places locally. That's the narrative I'm pushing for manufacturing.
All right. When there is absence of electric power, manufacturing sector will suffer. And because it is one of the critical sectors that can house more of the unemployed people who are desperately looking for work, because they need to be working in the factories that are producing garments, producing shoes, manufacturing finished consumables, and value addition in other raw materials that are taken to those places. If they don't exist, unemployment will fall. If they don't exist, the unemployed will fill the streets. And if they don't exist, the people that are in the unemployment market will be more than the ones that are employed, and that is not good for any economy and for any country as far as security is concerned. So if you take care of electricity, you're taking care of a whole lot of things that are so numerous we can't even begin to mention on this table. Now, we'll move to our next story. The Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, says that Lekki Deep Sea Port is projected to deliver over $200 billion in government revenue during its 45-year concession period. Speaking at a breakfast meeting organized by the Nigerian Chamber of Shipping in Lagos, Oyetola noted that the port has already begun easing congestion at Lagos ports, restoring investor confidence and strengthening Nigeria's position as a regional logistics hub. He highlighted that with only 20% of its capacity currently in use, the Lekki port offers vast untapped opportunities for investors, backed by world-class infrastructure, improved road access, and a government commitment to eliminating bottlenecks. According to Oyetola, the project's success rests on 5 pillars: strategic regional market access, public-private partnership, integrated transport links, supportive policies, and technology-driven operations. The Lekki Port Management estimates that the facility could contribute $361 billion to the economy over the concession period, supported by faster ship turnaround from post-Panamax cranes and expanded transshipment operations. What is ringing in my head as we speak is the $300+ billion that this port is going to generate for the country.
Yes.
That's just what is ringing in my head over the 45 years time of concession. So as we look at this, because I have a perspective when it comes to creation of ports in Nigeria and how the government should either intentionally through the government purse or mobilize other sets of investors within the country to go resuscitate other ports within the country. Before I go to that, let's just talk about this. Olumide, it's a good development, right?
Yes, it's a good development. It will boost revenue. It would reduce port congestion in Lagos. It also improves investors' confidence. Definitely, it will create millions of jobs.
Okay.
While it's a good move, we have other ports that I would say are in moribund. We have that, we talked about it earlier last week, the Barrow port. That was commissioned, I think, 2019.
In Niger State.
In Niger State until now, nothing. So while all eyes are concentrated on Lagos, we have other ports. We have ports in where you come from. What is happening?
I'm from Nigeria.
Yeah? The state you come from. I'm talking about the state.
You're a Portuguese man. Tell him
you
come Nigerian, please.
You've always, criticized why nothing is being done in that particular area. So it's a great one. It's a great move. More jobs, revenue. But then again, if we have ports and we only have things coming in and these vessels or ships are leaving empty, are we really utilizing? Because it also says there that only 20% of this particular capacity is being utilized. So if we're just having imports, and a few exports, we are not really utilizing it. If ships are coming in and leaving empty, that's another area we also need to look on. So yes, it's a good move, but let's also make sure that we replicate this in other states, because Lagos is not the only place where ships can berth. They can berth in any other part of the country.
Okay, so fine. And it looks like you made a significant point when you talked about when these ports are made or when they are built and the amount of revenue over $300 billion that will be generated in the economy within the space of 45 years now when the concession lasts. We need to start talking about when you mentioned empty containers and empty ships moving away back from the Nigerian ports, from the Lekki Deep Sea Port, from the Lagos ports, back to wherever it's coming from, and we have so many empty containers.
There's a jetty along Marina. You see ships, they've been there for a very long time. Nothing.
They move, or don't
they move?
Don't look
I know
at
there's a particular white ship I've seen
Okay.
there because I've been to that particular
Yes.
It has been there for quite a while. It has been there.
So that particular ship is a dock ship. It's the one that when you are coming in, receives you, takes your products and your goods and gives you stuff immediately.
No, it's an exploration ship.
That one,
the
that's
white
it.
one.
Because I know there's one big one there that's the job, because I had asked a friend about it. And so that's what that one does.
Okay, so the aspect we should be looking at, manufacturing is completely not unlinked to what we are talking about, because if the ports exist, are we only going to be bringing a manufactured goods, finished goods, and turn our country into a dumping ground and kill local industries and kill local manufacturing capacity because we are busy receiving finished product from the United States, finished product from the UK, and finished product from China? That in itself would take us back to status quo. There would not be any form of change. So when we build these ports, what is the objective? Like, what is the objective? What is the economic master plan that the government must have had?
So first of all, my take when I saw the story was, I feel that the 200 billion that they're expecting to be generated from taxes in 45 years is poor. I think that's too small. I think we should project higher, because if we are looking at what the ports can do, to me 200 billion is chicken change compared to what ports are making in Singapore and other countries who have a very effective running system. So when I read the news, that was when my mind went to mindset. The second thing I had to say is, if you look at that port, it is private government ownership. That's what we're talking about. And that's why I keep pushing for private, because government cannot do it alone. If we had left the resuscitation of that port to the Lekki Deep Sea Port, if we had left it in the hands of government, it would probably, they will still be doing phase 2 now, and they have 100 phases to go. It is because of the private push that we are seeing. It is part of this port that has pushed Dangote. Don't forget, it is through that Lekki Deep Sea Port that Dangote is exporting petroleum products to where? To the US. So if we say that the ports, what's the significance? Is it really working? It is working. There was something he also said. He said they are also working on partnerships to revive other ports in the east, in Port Harcourt, and I clapped, and in Calabar. They didn't talk about the one you talked about in Niger.
It's commissioned. It's ready
that's
to
what
move.
I'm saying. I don't know what their plan is. I don't want to say some things, but I'll be careful, because some people have already said it's working in a low key. But I don't want to say that. Now, looking at Calabar, Port Harcourt, and the eastern ports, I am pushing for that. I'm also pushing for the private partnership, because once ports open, that's when people realize that you have goods that you need to export, and there are things that need to come in that need to be cheaper. You cannot take it away. When you're talking about manufacturing, I will tell you something. Have you ever had a car? Have you ever seen them bring in an accidented vehicle from the US, bullet reading, and take it to Ladipo and go back there in a week? If you see what these boys are fabricating, from bumpers to body parts, when you say manufacturing is not working in Nigeria, I'm just laughing. You need to go to some places. Go to Ladipo. They will dissolve that car that came in that you don't even want to see. When they are done painting that car and they sell it to you 100 million, you'll be breathing. Because we are fabricating. In fact, some of our, what do you call this, iron benders and co, they are one of the best in the world when it comes to fabricating. They will just need to look at the product very well. Look at it. When they go to their house and come back, when they fabricate that product, fear will catch you. Now, a lot of things are coming in. The good thing about Nigeria, for example, cars. 70% of the cars that come into Nigeria come in as accidental vehicles and come in not in perfect working condition. It is our boys and our products that are putting them back in place. So if you say manufacturing is working, that's why they are paying that high amount of tax. If not, they would not have that money to remit to the government. Let's leave that aside. Back to our seaport matter. The truth is, the other ports need to work. So right now, I want to see private partnership push government to let them work. I also want to see people become sentimental. If I'm from the East, there's no reason why the biggest 12 business people the way they did in Lagos cannot attract other people from the north like Dangote Bua Group and say, Bua Group, let us put something in the east. Let us put something in Port Harcourt. Let us put something in Calabar. At least Calabar, if you say Port Harcourt, the east, Calabar is relatively safe. There's no kidnapping, there's no insecurities like that. State is doing very well. I think we need to start to play this regional politics at this time because we need more ports working. But I also need more eyes to be on these seaports because the money they are saying they are going to generate for me, that's baby money. We should be looking at more generation. We should be looking at more monies.
All right.
Yes.
So, first of all, I didn't say manufacturing is not working. I said manufacturing, it does not have the capacity to satisfy the local market, given the population of Nigeria.
My apologies for saying that.
No,
yes.
there's no problem. So the other thing is this: when most vehicles, like you said, maybe accidented vehicles, these are vehicles or other vehicles that they've seen that the other client, wherever it's coming from, either from the United States or in Canada, the agencies and the law has completely, write off those vehicles as vehicles that cannot ply the roads again in this climate.
Yes.
They ship them to the continent of Africa. And when they ship them to the continent of Africa, of course, we have our locals who transform the vehicle around and make value from trash. That is not bad. But if we are beginning to look at the ports, if the Lekki Deep Sea Port alone can bring in $200 million
in 45 years.
200 million. No, in 45 years.
If they said the next year, I'll be excited. 45 years is too long.
If they are looking at that, $200 million, and when we now $200 million in 45 years, we were talking about 300 and something billion dollars. That's what we're looking at within the period of the concession.
So that's baby money.
$200 million is not for 45 years, of course. Even with
he said we need the 45 years span. That's what they said.
Let's also be realistic. For 45 years.
For 45 years.
That's baby money.
No, it's not $200 million.
That's what he said.
No, I don't think.
It's not read the article. It said in 45. That's what upsets me.
Yeah, no,
to me, by the time I'm doing, so the money looks big. It looks big, but
not
when you are...
really. It shouldn't be $1 million. I think I said it was about
It's $200 billion.
$200 billion.
Yes. For 45 years.
For 45 years. Notwithstanding, I think that is still small.
Yes.
But if we have the Lekki Deep Sea Port that can provide that, and you have the Tin Can port that can provide almost same thing. You have the Apapa ports.
Dangote is also
it's trying to build one in Ogun State. We
have the Barrow one that's been commissioned in 2019.
If you talk about the Barrow port, I think the Speaker of the House of Representatives recently was reading and reviewing the reports that the committee went to fish out and saw that the commissioning was only done on paper and what's on ground does not actually reflect what they are expecting. So because the facilities in there are dilapidated and they are not, basically in summary, it is not something that is functional at the moment, and they need to really, start holding people to account. I remember the Speaker of the House of Representatives making that statement. So let's go to Port Harcourt, let's go to Calabar, like you said, and let's go to Delta State and look at the ports in there. It's beginning to look. Because I told Doctor, I do not buy his submission by saying the existence of insecurity in the southern parts of the country is one of the reasons why it is. That is not it.
No, it is.
No, wait a moment.
Yes.
That is not it at all. There were instances we heard in Lagos, that is outside almost all the ports now, where people came and kidnapped some other people in the IC here in Lagos and freely moved out. They came in freely and they moved out freely.
But
they carried out that activity, and the government came in and intervened.
Are you sitting at home on Monday mornings in Lagos?
Wait, Swift. Just a moment. Just a moment. So when you say that, it's the government's responsibility to fight insecurity. So
definitely.
If you say Lagos is relatively safe, is the government going to say if Lagos is safe, I do not have any business if Borno State is burning, I do not have any business if there is insecurity in Delta State and in Port Harcourt, in River State? No. So I think those are untenable excuses. If the government, those ports are owned by the government. Are they owned by private individuals? If it is owned by the government, why would you put your hands away completely? And now we seem to be having more of the ports coming to the southwestern part of the country. I think we need to take a second look at that conversation. In taking a second look at that conversation, we are neither here nor there. But we need to go on a break. When we come back from this break, we'll determine we'll continue that conversation or move to our next story. To stay with us.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Suk business landscape.
Muhammad Yunus was born on the 28th of June 1940 in the village of Batwa, Chittagong, a British Indian colony which is currently known as Bangladesh. He attended Lama Bazar Primary and Secondary School in his village and passed the matriculation examination into Chittagong Collegiate School, where he ranked 16th out of 39,000 students. After his graduation in 1961, Yunus joined the Bureau of Economics as a research assistant and was later appointed lecturer of economics at the Chittagong College. During that time, he also set up a profitable packaging factory on the side. In 1965, he received a Fulbright scholarship to study in the United States, where he obtained his PhD in economics from the Vanderbilt University Graduate Program in Economic Development. Between 1969 and 1972, after his keen education excellence of apex heights and proportions in the United States, he returned home and was appointed professor of economics at the University of Chittagong. He was eventually appointed onto the board of directors to the United Nations Foundation, where he served for 33 years. When Bangladesh suffered a famine in 1974, Yunus felt he had to do something for the very poor. In his country, he founded the Grameen Bank. His motivation was to create economic and social development for the very poor, giving long-term loans to those who wanted to start small enterprises to pay back when they can. The aim to help was to get many of them out of poverty. For this, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2006. Muhammad Yunus is a recipient of numerous international awards for his ideas and endeavors, including the Humanitarian Award in 1993, World Food Prize in 1994, Independence Day Award in 1987, Bangladesh's highest award, the King Hussein Humanitarian Leadership Award in 2000. He was also awarded the Volvo Environment Prize in 2003, Nikkei Asia Prize for Regional Growth in 2004, Franklin D. Roosevelt Freedom Award in 2006, as well as the Seoul Peace Prize in the same year. All humans are born entrepreneurs, he would always fondly say. His heart showed through his everyday life.
Hello Nigeria, hello Africa. Yeah, this is Sound Man. Keep watching Souk News.
My name is Babalola from Excel LED. Keep watching Souk News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch Souk News TV.
Hi, I'm Tom Boggaballs, and please keep watching Souk News.
Wale Seriki, SLG Lagos Island East. Souk News, keep out watching them and keep a lookout for them. They're up and coming, and we're proudly to be affiliated with them.
You alone where they make me go crazy. This your love in the cool of my brain. You're my medicine, I need you all day. Yo, it's Blackface Nigeria and you're watching Souk News TV. Keep it locked on this dial, don't change it. You know what I say? Blackface Nigeria, love on the bad.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program. Now, Seplat Energy PLC, in partnership with NNPC Limited, has delivered its first domestic supply of liquefied petroleum gas from the Bonny River Terminal in Rivers State, loading 12,600 metric tons of butane. Previously, the LPG from the facility was exported. But this milestone marks a shift towards strengthening local supply and reducing Nigeria's heavy reliance on imports, which currently account for over 70% of consumption. The move is expected to ease pressure on foreign exchange, stabilize cooking gas prices, and align with the federal government's decade of gas initiative. The supply also supports Nigeria's energy transition by offering cleaner, affordable alternatives to firewood and kerosene, which remain the dominant cooking fuels for most households. Seplat is investing further through its 300 MMSFD Ano, the gas plant, and 90 MMSCFD Sapele gas plant, both with dedicated LPG units due by late 2025, positioning the company as a key driver of domestic energy security. Last week we had a conversation, and the conversation actually delved and took us to where we had to start paying attention and talking about LPG and the price of cooking gas and how people are relying on kerosene and firewood, as was specifically said in the article and published in the article. But the thing is this. Okay, we are aware. Probably the price in my area is different from yours, and it's also different from where Swift is. But I know probably some eyebrow areas, maybe it's 1.5. Yes. Maybe in some places it's 1,300. Maybe in some other places it's 1,000.
Definitely, on the island it's always more expensive.
More expensive, like 1,500.
I bought yesterday.
Okay, so how much did you buy?
I bought 12.5 kg for 14,400.
Okay, so
if
1
you divide
kg.
that is 1,152 naira.
1,152 naira.
Per kg.
It has come slightly down.
From a filling station.
Yes, from a filling station.
From a filling station.
Yes.
Okay, so but when private individuals sell, they sell for 1,200, 1,300,
yes.
Thereabout. Okay, now we have been told that before now we were focusing on exportation.
Yes.
And this recent development is going to make us to turn our attention to not only focus on exportation, but to also want to satisfy the local demand.
Yes.
But the local demand does not pay in dollars. The local demand, those who are demanding locally will pay in naira. But for those who are exporting, they'll get dollars for their export. And the businessman will want to run after profit. like this. So, is it government regulation that is going to tell us where, like, mandate those who have the capacity to export to make sure that they give primary attention to local demand? Or what's your take?
I think let's have market force determine this. Now it's just Seplat right now that said, okay, they are trying as much as possible to satisfy local consumption, local demands. If you have more of that, that's one of the things about competition. It drives prices down. Because if you are producing LPG and I start LPG, I want to compete with you. If you are selling, let's say you're selling for 1,152 naira per kg, I would come up with 1,100 naira or 1,090 naira, slightly lesser than yours. And Nigerians will love buying cheap things or cheaper things. So if you are selling for 1,002 and someone is selling for 1,001, be it in Makoko or Ikorodu, Nigerians are ready to go there and purchase it. That is why you have long queues at MRS filling station, because it is cheaper and of quality.
I don't want to say.
I will not say Nigeria. There's something called sales all over the world. Why do people run there? It's not a Nigerian thing, my brother.
And I don't want to say cheap.
Yes.
I think it's just
the quality,
price difference.
So when you calculate the
think it's price difference.
Even if it's 1 naira.
Yes.
So look at what you've just. You bought 12 kg.
Yes.
Now imagine, I know 1.3. You are buying at 1,150.
Yes.
That's 150 naira on each kg.
On each kg.
Are you whining me?
That's a lot of difference. So I think more competition would drive the prices down.
Yes.
Then again, we also have the people feel that cooking gas is not the only thing you can use. They've modernized this charcoal stove. So we have this charcoal stove now. It's modernized. It does not make the kitchen black. It does not, no harm. It's very safe and affordable. So people are resulting into that.
To charcoal.
Yes, to charcoal.
So you need
stove.
to purchase charcoal.
Yes.
To burn.
Which is cheaper.
Yes.
Charcoal is cheaper.
Coal, yes.
Compared to gas.
Yes.
Compared to gas, kerosene.
Yes. How much do you buy what are they doing? Not a big bag, because let's look at those who are the ebb of society who wants to cook and they feel and they have the charcoal stove, like you said, and they needed to buy charcoal for cooking. And what they can purchase with, they get for 500 naira?
You can get 200 naira.
Yes.
There used to be 100 naira as of 2 years ago.
No way.
Yes, as of 2 years ago.
2 years
I
ago.
don't know.
Let's
I don't know
talk
about now.
Because
so there used to be 100 naira on. So let's say with inflation, that 100 naira is now 200 naira. That 200 naira can cook you at least 4 meals.
4 meals.
Yes.
I don't believe this.
People have resorted to using charcoal,
the charcoal
firewood.
Because what you are implying is that there's quick access to charcoal and the sources from which charcoal the sources
on the road,
the sources of charcoal is now so accessible that everybody can go in business, and we have it proliferated everywhere, that it can now be sold as much as 200 naira for people to buy.
So, but Mr.
Local, what you call the mesuya.
Yes, they use charcoal. No, Mr. Priya, you know that there are levels in this game. So I don't expect you to cook with charcoal because you are from a class distinction. There's a class
There's
distinction.
a reason why I'm saying that.
Yes.
There's a reason why I'm saying that. I'm saying that because the other day we were having a conversation and we delved into the aspects, and we talked about how the trees in the forest in Nigeria, most in the rural areas, are becoming so scanty, and the forests is being depleted regularly because we have people who go there to cut down trees and use it for cooking and for also charcoal businesses.
Yes.
And this in itself is impacting the country negatively. That preaches about climate change. And according to the SDG goal, Nigeria is a member of the United Nations, so it has to be subjected to making sure that it had to contribute its own quota to meeting that. And that in itself would not be a good thing. We remember former administration, Babatunde Raji Fashola, that went into the exercise of planting trees across Lagos State. It was motivated by that. Now, if we're not talking about trees being depleted regularly, and we're talking about charcoal, using charcoal for cooking, this story was actually telling us that since gas is going to be available locally in very, very high, substantial quantity, that people are going to turn their eyes away from charcoal, the use of charcoal and kerosene.
Let me read this. Now, I went online, I did a bit of search. Now, in Kano, a large bag of charcoal now sells between 6,500 to 7,000 naira, up from 4,000 naira the previous year. Now, in Makurdi, a 50 kg bag of charcoal has increased from 3,500 to 4,000 naira.
What about Lagos? Is Lagos there?
I'm not seeing Lagos. I'm still trying to get for Lagos. Now, we have specialized charcoal types. We have the restaurant hardwood, which is 25 kg bag, approximately 5,000 naira. Now, the BBQ grade hardwood, that's the one the Suya man uses, is around 1,500 naira for 25 kg bag.
25 kg bag.
Yes. So if it costs me between 6,000 to 7,000 naira to buy a bag of charcoal and I can use it
for maybe a month or 2 weeks, that's good.
We are talking about a bag of charcoal. You can use it more than a month. So
do you understand? Than paying 14,400, 15,000, 16,000 for gas.
Then also this is important to note here because you are not in some people's levels. Kerosene has been replaced by charcoal because kerosene is very expensive.
Yes,
so back in the day, it was normal to see stoves, kerosene stoves. Right now, you barely see kerosene stoves in people's houses. You now see charcoal that is fabricated from iron, the charcoal pot, which is now like a kerosene pot that you put it on top and you put
smoke-free.
Put under, yes. Because people cannot afford kerosene. Kerosene is it's more expensive to get kerosene than get gas.
Okay, so now that we are moving, we seem to, something good is seem to be coming on the horizon, and we are going to be going towards LPG.
Yes.
And the wherewithal of the organizations that has been mentioned to supply locally and to give primary attention to local supply.
I wanted to say that very
so
brilliantly.
now, is it affordable?
So first of all, I want to give kudos to Seplat and NNPC. The particular place in Bonny that they bought over was being managed by ExxonMobil. And one of the reasons why it was pushed that, Seplat gets it in conjunction with NNPC, was because ExxonMobil was doing almost a 98% exportation of this gas. And so that's why they were leaving Nigerians and Africans in a lot of gas issues, gas scarcity and all that, and increased prices. So the idea of this government is with Seplat and NNPC, there's a percentage that must be retained in Nigeria to supply local consumption, and there's also a percentage for exportation. Now, when an ExxonMobil is exporting, and ExxonMobil is not our company, it's a foreign company like Seplat. But now in conjunction with NNPC, it means that we now have the figures of what you are exporting. Whatever you are exporting is going through our national treasury. So that's why they said it is a good way of getting hard currency which we back the naira. So for me, this deal is beneficial to Nigerians. I'm looking at local consumption, I'm looking at exportation that would benefit the country, and of course the central bank. It's a win-win for me.
Talking about more than 100 million people that will be using gas, do you
instead of your charcoal?
Instead of charcoal, do you now think, do you now think this, yes, they've told us, do you think they have the capacity to meet local demand?
Them alone, I don't think so.
And we've not start talking about the purchasing power of everyone, because moving away from charcoal that might just cost you 6,000 naira to buy a huge, big bag that can take you 2-3 months.
And it's actually, that price went up from 3,500 to 6,000, 7,000 because of excuse me, the increase in demand as an alternative to cooking gas.
Cooking with gas,
So the rise in demand for charcoal
will now go up, will continue to soar as we speak.
But there was a time that cooking gas was about 3,000 naira to 5,000 naira. So until we have that competitive price between cooking gas and charcoal, and people have the option of using either of them.
It wasn't on to, there was a time 1 kg was 100 naira.
Wow.
And so then when I fill my small gas...
How many years was that?
That must have been
a long time.
Yes.
When I fill buy small gas, I will fill with less than 300, those 4 kg, I'll fill less than 350, and the thing will knock me for a month. Right now, too, we must also add that the standard of gas has reduced, because that same 12 kg that we used to fill then, it used to do me 3 months. Now I feel the same 12 kg and in a month and a half.
Yes.
And I'm not cooking beans as much as I used to do then.
What happened? What changed? Why if 12 kg used to sustain you for 2 months or 3 months, it cannot take you for just 6 weeks. What's not the problem?
That's why I patronize filling stations, because they have a way of measuring. You see there, it's reading. Most of these other roadside people, they will just fill the gas and they will use something, they'll carry it up, and that's how they
measure with you now. They have this thing measurement.
They can tip that scale. They can actually, they can actually.
But the same human beings who operate the scales in the filling stations, also the ones running a private business. These are they are all human beings.
They are all human beings.
So that means the filling station
they tip their
but you must realize, because bigger organizations are more careful with customer relations because of the fact that people can talk. If I go and buy 20 liter and it doesn't hit half tank, I will probably not. I will probably not. Yes, I'll take you just to social media court, and I will probably not come to your station again. I will go to the station that's selling more. So there are 2 stations in my area.
Hence why people are going to MRS.
Yes, one sells when you buy your 12 liter is 12 liter. In fact, if you buy, there was a day I took 5 liter to buy from another station and it didn't fill up. But when I bought there, it was remaining. And I was like, hey, this one is this is the real 5 liter. And so you notice people now start going there more than the other place. So for those reasons, like he said, the gas, you are more likely to patronize those people that you know they are more authentic.
And again, you know, this charcoal is used to prepare some lovely dishes.
Yes.
Your favorite jollof rice, now we have smoky jollof rice. That's an addition to the regular jollof rice we have now. Your favorite suya.
Smoked jollof
Smoky
rice.
Jollof
Smoky
rice.
jollof rice.
Yes.
So what, it's roasted on charcoal? Charcoal stove?
Well, I don't know whether it's logical.
Okay.
They said there's a smell or a taste or that comes with jollof rice prepared on firewood or charcoal. Let
me first tell you. First of all, there's an aroma that gets to you, that takes you back to when your grandmother used to cook with firewood. That's the first. Then when you taste it, you can almost taste that charcoal. It is an African delicacy. Oh yeah, there is a spice it has to it. It's like curry leaf.
All right.
You probably didn't grow up in the village, or you probably didn't grow up in an indigenous, Oh my God.
Let's move to our next story. Nigeria recorded a 24% month-on-month jump in foreign exchange flows to a $3.8 billion in July 2025, up from $3.1 billion in the month of June, signaling improved investor sentiment. According to the FBN Quest, while foreign portfolio investors remained the largest overall contributors at $1.7 billion, the weekly data from Coronation Merchant Bank shows that non-bank corporates led inflows for 2 straight weeks, accounting for nearly 29% of supply. That's quite high. Now, despite the rebound, inflows remain below May's $6.7 billion peak, with the naira depreciating slightly by 0.13% in the month of July to 1,534 naira to the dollar. Analysts of one that reliance on foreign portfolio investors makes Nigeria vulnerable to global risk sentiments and interest rate shifts, while domestic structural issues continue to weigh on forex stability. Reserves rose to $40.72 billion, aided by steady inflows. But experts caution that potential monetary easing in the second half of 2025 could dampen foreign portfolio investment appetite and slow forex momentum. Now, from the month of June, it was about 21. In July, foreign portfolio investors, are being cautious. But now, from what we are seeing now, the investors' sentiments being and their appetite being, it's been wet. What's changed? sometimes I want to ask what's changed. I know if we pose the same question to Olayemi Cardoso, one of the things that we will get is that the government reform seems to be making the economic reform of the government seems to be still gaining momentum. But what about now when it depreciates? Because I know fine, we've gone off, it has moved to 29% increase. So what are the things that are changing when we talk about government reforms that seem to be, giving us some form of yield?
I think the stable currency.
Stable currency.
For a while now, it has remained between
but it's just a marginal difference.
It doesn't matter. It's not fluctuating anymore.
It was 2,000 at a point.
1917 every week. In fact, there was a time someone cracked a joke. She was in the US, and so she calls a person and she says, "Okay, let me transfer." And it was her daughter doing it for her online. All this bureau they change online, and she now said, "Don't worry, let me do it in the evening." As of that afternoon, it was 1.5. At evening, it had hit 1.6650. And then the daughter told her that, "Mommy, this Christmas period, I can bet you by tomorrow it will be 1.7. I said they should get out with their dollar. She said by the next day it was 1.8.
Okay.
Now, how much has your dollar been to Naira? It's been coming between 149 and 155.50.
Okay.
And I also think the MPC or the MPR has been maintained well, and so that's one of the major things that is boosting investors' confidence, because when I know that if I invest, I tend to make more money, but at the expense of local investors, because with a high interest rate, companies would frown to want to expand, or major new companies that want to enter the market would think twice. Then we also have political stability. I could say yes, there's been a fair amount of political stability, but investors also look beyond a particular administration. So they tend to look beyond 4 years. What happens after 4 years when this particular administration is not?
Take Nigeria, because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market, or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, monitoring, and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. Ready to make an impact? For more information, email us at info@adstudycenter.com or call +234 912 439 2362. Visit us today at www.adstudycenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
Take Nigeria, because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff.
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program. We have been looking at this market indices. The Nigerian market jumped profit about 25.6. Trying to get the details of that before we went on that short break. But I think you were making a point.
Yes.
About why you talked about investors' confidence that actually increased by way of the increase in the profit. But is it sustainable? And we were talking about even though I complain that it's quite marginal, the value of the naira compared to the dollar. And yes, you were addressing that perspective.
Yes, even though it's marginal, but it's better if something is stable. It doesn't go up, it doesn't go down. That's what builds that investors' confidence. Okay, it is stable. It has been stable. I think since the beginning of this year, it has been a bit stable. There's just a slight difference between the official rate and probably what the BDCs are offering, even though people still go to the BDCs and all that. But it is still slight difference, so which I feel is good. Do you understand? Then I was also talking about the political stability. That's one of the things investors are now looking at, because we have now seen that from last administration to this year, there has been some certain statements that were made. I don't always want to go back. Certain statements were made, and it has brought us to where we are right now. So a lot of investors are looking at what is going to happen in the next 8 years. Let's say this administration does not come back or does not continue, the new administration, will it be the same, from the same political party or the opposition? Because we've seen whereby if it's the opposition that comes in, they start to reverse certain reforms and policies that had been done by the previous administration. So, you know, investors fear government continuum in certain reforms. So these are some of the things. So it might be sustainable, but it's fairly marginal. Right. It's not all investors that is tilting this way. And I think why I said it's not sustainable is because most investors, what they are doing is they are doing short-term
investments,
not
the long-term.
Not the long-term. So they are just looking to make quick money and move.
Yeah, okay. So like you said, investors' confidence, one of the things that is boosting investors' confidence for me is what IMF said. IMF has been coming out to praise Nigeria. IMF has said that every reform that Nigeria has taken has been reforms in the right steps. Even the United Nations has also given kudos to Nigeria that we have been able to take certain steps that are politically and economically reformed. Nigeria has already been rated as one of the top 3 African countries that are doing fantastically well when it comes to agriculture, manufacturing, development, and is a fertile ground for investment. IMF is claiming that about 3.2% that we have added to our GDP growth rates, and that there should be improvement as time goes on. Now, there's also an inflow of about 4.1 billion from investors outside. And like he said, although some of these investors are temporary, a lot are looking at permanent. There are investors in Dangote. They have gone online. They have taken their business to the stock market. We are looking at a lot of foreign people coming there. He also talked about political stability, which is a plus. There are a lot of states that have a lot of manufacturing. For example, in Southwest, Ibadan, Osun, they have a lot of manufacturing companies. To a large extent, those places are safe. They haven't been plagued with a lot of political, whatever is happening, indigenous issues is quick to settle. Even in the north, we are looking at Kano, where there's a reduction in maybe bomb blasts, you know, attacks. So people are now looking at settling in. Also, this the train going to be moving from Lagos to Ibadan, the Lagos coastal routes, all these things are opening to investors that look, this is a safe place to invest in. There's infrastructure being built on ground. People are ready. Then we cannot take away our large population. Every time investors want to come in, they look at the population, and the purchasing power of Africans or Nigerians. Nigerians are quick to invest, buy new phones, new cars, new clothes, anything new, anything good, anything comfortable. No matter how strained you are, you will take loans, you will do this, you will buy. So when you look at the overall cost, it is a good country to invest in. Then finally, he said something about continuing. We are hoping, because my fear for a lot of states, that's why I say Lagos State has been doing well, because they have had the same political party for some time. We saw even one time in Lagos State, one particular governor left and the other particular governor was not happy. That one spent the first 2 years of his administration upturning every project he had done, renaming, scattering, rebuilding, and that took the state to some extent really back, where there was debt all over Lagos, and you know, some certain people were not being paid because they felt they were loyal to the other government. If there is a continuum, a sustainability, if they can give to me, Tinubu, another 4 years. I was listening to Ferraro to me, and he said Tinubu has taken Nigeria 54 years, he has restored 54 years of infrastructure, manufacturing,
deficits,
economic policies that the other governments were able to destroy. In fact, he came out on Buhari government very hard. That as far as it was concerned, Buhari government took the government back. And so when there was an agenda for Goodluck Jonathan to come back, he said, well, we're always trying to resuscitate ex-presidents, that this doesn't make any sense. So I feel Nigeria is a good place to invest in. I see a lot of people coming back from the diaspora back to the country. So it's a good place at this point.
Okay, it's a good place to invest in. And I think people have subjective opinions when it comes to administrations and economic development and the kind of administration, what happened in Obasanjo's time, and comparisons that you might want to give. Because for some, they would tell you that Nigeria was in a dire, complete, comatose and dysfunctional state. And Obasanjo came in 1999 and turned the whole country around. Cleared of Nigerian debt with IMF, restored Nigeria in the path of development, and made it a very, very strong country in the continent of Africa, and indeed in a global force to be reckoned with. If you go to Yar'Adua's administration, people have good things and bad things to say about them, and go to Jonathan, then go to President Muhammadu Buhari. A lot of things was said about his own administration, and I don't want to start mentioning, you all have your own opinions. And for the current administration, it is being assessed by Nigerians, all its policies, policy outcomes, their positive and their negative consequences upon the life of Nigerians, and most especially that affect the pocket of the man at the ebb of society. If the purchasing power of the man at the ebb of society continues to go down, the administration will also need to answer for that, because the policies touches the eyes, also touches the nose. I am Oyetola Krumale, and this is the right place for us to draw the curtain on Souk Business Landscape. I am Oyetola Krumale once again, and to Olumide.
It's been a pleasure staying with us, and if you have enjoyed Souk Business Landscape, continue the conversation on our social media page at Souk News TV. Like, comment, and share. I am Olumide Shokoya. Keep watching Souk News TV.
I want to tell you to have a beautiful day, and do not forget that Nigeria, we are taking it every step by day, and we are getting better and better. So believe in Nigeria, believe in Africa, buy Nigerian, buy African, and be proudly African. My name is Swift Aderito. Have a beautiful day.
Bye.
Take Nigeria, because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content, and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market, or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk Business Landscape.